district. That's the S word there is such a difficult word, so I just say district superboy. A couple of Sundays ago, I went to the installation worship service of the Flint Hills district. Claudia Bakley was installed to be their DS. And she preached a great sermon. And I think she did it because she was holding an iPad. You see what I'm doing here? Okay, so if I preach from iPad, a little bit better sermon. So here I go. Well, I am one of those who you can say a avid golfer, or an easier way to say it, a golf nut. I just have to play golf. But here's the thing, I'm not competitive, I'm not athletic. So when I play golf, it is purely for exercise. And sometimes quiet meditation, which I say sometimes because most of the times, if you play golf, you know how frustrating it is. It looks simple. I mean, the action you do, the thing you do, swinging golf club is so simple. It looks simple. In the golf ball, that little ball is sitting. It's not moving, right? So how difficult can it be? But it is difficult. And in that simple-looking golf swing, there are so many things that can go wrong. And whenever I play for exercise or for relaxation, I have this burning desire to get better. So when I hit bad, then I come home and I think about what I did wrong. And so I did a lot of research, right? Nowadays you have this great research tool on everything. It starts with the letter G, Google. If you have a question, Google it. There is an answer. And I came across this outrageous argument saying there are 108 ways that a golf swing can go wrong. In other words, you can come up with 108 excuses for not hitting the golf ball straight. And there are so many things about it. I mean, a lot of them are about equipment. All else fails, blame the equipment. My clubs are lousy. It's bad clubs, cheap. You know, even when you have these awesome golf clubs, like top of the line brand, they are not good enough if you are playing those clubs. They have their own minds. Golf balls, same deal. So you blame the golf clubs, equipment. And then when you run out of that excuse, you blame your physical condition. Like I have bum shoulder, right? So that affects my golf swing. Or sometimes people say, oh, this tennis elbow, that's what bothers me. Or somehow I slept very little last night because my allergies were acting up. Or maybe I got a little fever. All kinds of excuses. 108. I don't know who counted them all. I mean, somebody must have had all the time in the world. But I have one more excuse. It's my eyeglasses. These are bifocals. Try this if you're wearing bifocals. Try to play golf with bifocals on. Nothing is as it seems when you're looking down, especially when you try to putt this golf ball, it's an hassle. One day, well, not just one day, a few times I really actually played these bifocals on. I usually have this pair of single vision eyeglasses in the car most of the times, but sometimes I drive the wrong car, like my wife's or something. Somehow I forget to put them on. And then, goes south real quick. And I blame my eyeglasses. So here's the thing. No matter how good you are, even Tiger Woods need to be prepared for the game. They get there early and warm up their body, and then check all the equipment. Just yesterday or the day before, one of those professional golfers was disqualified, sort of, because he was playing with 15 golf clubs. 14 is the limit. So you have to be really, really prepared for the game. And for me, that means I have to have right eyewear. So, when the scripture says we need to be dressed for action, I would say I need to have right eyeglasses for action. Now, being dressed for action and having your lamps, that is from the scripture we read, it's all about being prepared, isn't it? I mean, you gotta have right equipment, including your eyewear or even dress. And scripture also talks about having your lamps lit, and it's all about being prepared. Now, let me tell you how easy it is to be prepared. Before I became the DS, I served local churches, and one of the preachers is preach a sermon every Sunday, right? I know that. And I have a full week to prepare for that sermon. There's plenty enough, right? That's the easy thing, to be prepared for the Sunday. When I was told that I was becoming a DS, and I was also told that I would be preaching a sermon at my installation service, I had about 6 or 7 months to prepare for that sermon. So I was supposed to preach the best sermon of my life. 6 months of preparation? How could I mess that up? When I signed up for a class at St. Paul's School of Theology, they give me this advanced assignment, reading the books and writing papers about those books before the class begins. And I am usually given 2 or 3 months of time. Plenty of time, right? So if you have a lot of time between you and the deadline, you can be prepared, right? That's easy. You guys don't look like agreeing with me. Yeah, the truth is, I always somehow manage to get myself on the clock. Guess what I was doing late last night? Yeah. I always tell myself, next time, it will start sooner. The next time, you will give yourself more time to prepare for the sermon or for the class. But again, as I said, even last night, I was struggling with my sermon. Actually, I will preach another one this afternoon, which in Korean. At any rate, even when we know that the deadline or the due date is coming and coming quickly, it's just not easy to get ourselves prepared for that moment. Now, today's text tells us something like this. If the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into, right? So if you know when this crazy or depressed deer wants to find out how tough your car is, you can avoid it, right? You can be prepared for that kind of thing. If the deer sends you an email saying, on a certain day, at a certain place, I'm gonna see how tough your car is, how well your car is built, or how strong your pickup truck is, then all you have to do is, don't go there, not go there. That's all there is. That's how you prepare for yourself. Yeah. So, the difficult thing is when we try to get ourselves ready for those things. You know, the things that you don't know when it'll happen or where it'll happen. But we try our best to be ready for those things. So I'm guessing all of us have some kind of insurance. Whether it is health insurance, life insurance, or car insurance. Yes, indeed. We don't want those things to happen to us, but we know it may happen to us, so therefore have insurance. And some of you have rainy day account. Yeah, we do our best to be prepared for those things. Now, the text today, it is about being prepared for something that may not happen in our lifetime. It is about being prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ. It says, you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Unexpected hour. Now, we have been waiting for his return last 2,000 years. It hasn't happened yet, and chances are it's not going to happen in our lifetime, but Scripture urges us to be prepared for his coming back. And how in the world are we going to do that? How can we be prepared for the rest of our lives without failing at all? It's a difficult thing. You know, when I was in the military, boot camp, Army boot camp, we took turns to stand guard. Right? And it's a 2-hour job. And that 2 hours is the longest 2 hours in the world. So imagine standing guard for the rest of your life. Being prepared for the rest of your life. For his second coming. It's not going to be an easy thing. Yeah, we are human beings. We fail. We make mistakes. We make wrong choices. All the time. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to be prepared? Get ourselves ready for his second coming so that when Jesus comes again, he finds us standing guard and being prepared, and Jesus will invite us to the banquet and say, well, you've done a good job. I'm pleased with you. One of the ways for us to do that is found in today's scripture. And it is about money. You remember at the beginning of the text, there was saying, Sell your possessions and give alms. Make purses for yourselves that do not wear out, an unfailing treasure in heaven where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Sure, it is about money. So what does the scripture tell us to do? To sell our possessions and share it with others. This is how we stand guard. This is how we get ourselves ready for Jesus coming back. But it's not just about money. There's more to it. It is about loving your neighbors. You remember that greatest commandment Jesus talked about? Love your God with all your fill in the blank, heart. And then what comes next? Love your neighbors as yourselves. Now, when you love someone, you love to buy stuff for that person. Some of you were at the church conference last year, and probably you remember me telling you the story of my younger days when I was going out with my future spouse. I thought she liked fried chicken. So I always took her to this fried chicken restaurant, KFC. And the problem was, number one, I did not like fried chicken. I still don't really like chicken. I eat chicken, and I enjoy good chicken. But back then, the only reason I ate fried chicken was because I thought she liked it. And so, and then that's when I was a student, I didn't have a whole lot of money. So had I had anything worth a penny, I would have sold it to buy her chicken. But later, when we got married, you can imagine we never went back to KFC. Because it turns out that she went to KFC because she thought I liked chicken. That's how it goes. When you're in love, when you love someone, you like to do more for that person. You even would like to sell whatever you have to buy her or him a chicken, or maybe beer. You didn't hear me say that. But this thing about buying stuff for the one you love, it is about love. And also, you remember the story of Mrs. Lucinda Baldwin, who gave $80-some, like 100-some years ago, for Mrs. Scranton to start a school for girls and girls only in Korea. That's Ihwa. And now that school is a university, the best one, and still no boys are allowed on that campus. It's for young women only. And that school made a huge, huge impact in the history of modern Korea. And it began with that $80-some, 84, I think, if I remember correctly. She gave. So giving money, giving alms, is all about loving others, loving our neighbors as ourselves. And this is something that United Methodist call the process of sanctification. Sanctification. You remember John Wesley talked about sanctifying grace. And sanctification is all about, it's not about becoming holy holy or holier than thou. No, it's not like that. Becoming holy is all about practicing, exercising our love for others. It's a process of loving our neighbors. We call it sanctification. And the grace that helps us in that journey is called sanctifying grace. And it is a lifelong process, lifelong journey. So each day, day in, day out, every day, what we are to do as people of God is to practice this love of neighbor in whatever way we can. If it means that you give your money to Wesley House, you do it. If it means you give your time for Imagine Malaria, you do it. Every day you remember that. And you do that. Then that is how we get ourselves be prepared for the return of Jesus Christ. When we do that, when we live out our faith, when we go on with this journey of sanctification, and when Jesus finds us in that journey, then Jesus will say, you've been faithful. I'm pleased with you. Please come to my table and share with me this banquet. Next thing we are to do is